My selected designer from the What Was Good design is Eero Saarinen, a Finnish designer born on the 20th of August 1910 and died on the 1st of September 1961. The piece I have chosen was Saarinen's take at the household chair, which he called the womb chair. Saarinen was born to famous parents Eero Saarinen, who was an architect, and mother Loia Saarinen, who was a textile artist. It was no surprise that Eero would follow in his parents' footsteps and live a designer's life. In 1929, he studied sculpturing in Paris, but as he recounted years later, it never occurred to me to do anything but follow in my father's footsteps. In his teen years, Eero was seen helping his father design fittings and pieces of furniture for the Cranbrook campus. He enrolled in the Yale architecture program in 1930, 4 years later returning to Michigan to teach at Cranbrook, work on furniture designs and continue to practice architecture with his father. While teaching at Cranbrook, Saarinen met famous designer Charles Eames, who was also interested in the exploration and discovery of designing and constructing with new and unique materials. The two designers built up a strong bond, and their creative minds worked in sync. One of the most memorable accomplishments that the pair achieved was a series of plywood chairs for the MoMA-sponsored 1940 Organic Design in Home Furnishings competition, which went on to win first prize in all categories. Saarinen was known for pushing material to its absolute aesthetic limits. Because of his constant push for the creation of the new, he is notable for several well-known and inspiring pieces. Some of his standout projects include the Dulles International Airport in Washington DC, the Gateway Arch in Missouri, and also the TWA terminal at Kennedy International Airport. Saarinen went on to work with Eames on his trial with molded plywood in the early 1940s. The pair went on to create splints that aimed to recreate the human form as well as looking like molded sculptures. They applied these same processes to plywood furniture, but Saarinen began designing for Knoll and Eames for Herman Miller, so their design partnership soon came to an end. Later in the 1940s, Saarinen became a citizen of the United States and was recruited to the military by Donald McLaren, a previous friend from his architecture school. His job in the military was to draw illustrations for explosive dismantlement handbooks, and to create designs in which would be shown in the Situation Room in the White House. After leaving the military in 1944, Saarinen went back to designing furniture. Saarinen went on to create several chair collections, including the Womb Chair collection, as well as the Tulip Chair collection. 11 years later, Saarinen passed away due to a brain tumour. The year was 1961. After winning the Museum of Modern Art competition with Charles Eames for their experiments with moulded plywood, Saarinen was keen to continue exploring the capabilities of a chair that reached comfort through the shape of its shell, not the depth of its cushioning. Initially, he began the investigation with designs for smaller fiberglass task chairs, but changed direction when Florence Knoll approached him and asked for a chair that's like a basket full of pillows, something I can curl up in. This suggestion inspired one of the most iconic and comfortable chairs of the modern furniture movement. Like many of Saarinen's furniture designs, the womb chair required production techniques and materials still in the beginning stages of their existence. Saarinen and Knoll found a boat builder in New Jersey who was experimenting with fiberglass and resin to help develop manufacturing methods for the new chair. Florence Knoll said, "He was very skeptical. We just begged him. I guess we were so young and so enthusiastic, he finally gave in and worked with us." From this came the iconic womb chair, which consisted of upholstered latex, foam, on a reinforced plastic fiberglass shell with steel legs. The womb chair has characteristics that can relate to Dieter Rams' 10 principles for good design. The first characteristic that good design is innovative. The womb chair demonstrates this through its unique manufacturing process and new materials at the time. The chair, which is made from a fiberglass shell, was relatively new at the time, sparking new innovation at the time of design. Number 3 on Dieter Rams's list states that good design is aesthetic. The womb chair was new and exciting when it first introduced to the public, sparking a new way of thinking and a new way of designing. From its unique shape down to the new materials it was made from, the chair seemed to work on every level. Another specification that the chair falls under is that the chair is honest. This meaning that its main function, being to sit, is easily recognized and condensed down to its purest form. Saarinen's design was so simple, yet so effective in the way it was able to hold a person comfortably and securely in its form. The design was only made for one purpose, and that's why it is deemed so honest. The main materials that form the structure of the chair, being fiberglass and steel, are two materials that were built to last. Steel lasting up to 30 years and fiberglass lasting many more. Design-wise, the chair is still being sold today for prices up to $4,000 and a well-known design icon, which changed the way designers work and think. This chair is and will continue to be long-lasting, not only in its material, but in its legacy. The womb chair was simple but still very complex and thorough in its materials. Its shell, consisting of a unique fiberglass mold, was state-of-the-art in its era and used mainly in water vessels. This new and unique design was unheard of and one of a kind at the time. The process which the womb chair followed to construct was very unorthodox at the time, due to its new and fairly different materials. Throughout this assignment, I have taken note of Saarinen's unique way of thinking, not only making a product but enhancing its capabilities. I'll be sure to use this in my way of thinking in my own personal work.